Welcome to City on the Hill Kids Church Online.
I'm Noah.
And I'm Jimmy.
Today we're going to talk about Proverbs 3:5-6.
But that will be after a time of worship.
Acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Oh, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, direct your path. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. The Lord is near unto all them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. He shall direct you. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. The Lord is near unto all them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, yeah, and he shall direct your path.
Proverbs 3:5-6, and Psalm 121, verse 3.
He'll direct you, yes, sir.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. That comes from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. It means that you should trust the Lord God with absolutely everything that is in you, no matter what. Don't ever rely upon or depend upon things that you think that you know. Remember God. Bring everything to him in prayer, and he will definitely direct you, show you the way that you should go, and you will be successful in all that you do. So I'm going to say the verse again. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Listen to this story from the book of Joshua chapter 6. Now, the children of Israel had come to the first city that they were to conquer after crossing the Jordan. And the person that was heading them was Joshua. Joshua came after Moses. So the name of this city was Jericho. And it was surrounded by high walls. And the walls were very thick. It had a king, it had people, and it had valiant soldiers, tough soldiers. And the only way to get into the city was if you could get through the walls. It did have a gate too, but the gate was very, very strong too. So God gave Joshua some directions, and these were the directions. He said to Joshua, "Tell the people to have the Ark of the Covenant. In front of the Ark of the Covenant should be 7 priests blowing ram's horns. In front of the priests should be some armed Israeli soldiers. Behind the Ark of the Covenant should be all the rest of the soldiers of Israel." And what they were to do was to march around the walls of the city of Jericho. And when marching, they were not to make a sound with their voices. No talking, no shouting, no singing, no humming, nothing. They were to do this on the first day, on the second day, the third day. They were supposed to do this for 6 days. On the 7th day, things would be a bit different. But can you imagine what the people of Jericho, the soldiers and some of the people that may have been standing on the wall, were thinking? They probably were laughing at the Israelis. How did they expect to win a battle by just walking around the city with the ram's horn blowing and nobody saying a thing? Probably the only thing that they could hear apart from the ram's horn were the feet of the soldiers as they marched around the city. I'm sure that even some of the Israeli soldiers were thinking the same thing. Anyway, on the 7th day, they were to wake up early in the morning and march around the city of Jericho 6 times as they had done the previous 6 days. But on the 7th time, once they heard the long sound of the ram's horn being blown, they were to shout. And that's what happened. When the ram's horn sounded for a long time, Joshua shouted, "Shout! For the Lord has given the city into your hands." And they did that. And the walls of Jericho fell down flat. And the children of Israel went into the city. You know, if God had spoken to me directly, and I'm sure maybe some of you, and asked me to do that kind of a thing, I would begin to wonder, how is that going to work? But in this case, Joshua trusted the Lord God with all his heart and obeyed. He didn't do things probably how he would have felt it should be done best. And God gave him a good victory. He was successful in his campaign. So today, when we want to achieve anything, it's good practice to remember God, to pray to him about whatever it is, asking him for guidance. He would usually direct your path. He will show you the way to do whatever it is that you're asking for, and you would have good success. He does show us how to get stuff done, even if it's in a way that we don't understand and keeps us wondering. And that's the end of the story.
Hi guys! Doesn't Ivy tell a story so well? And isn't it amazing the way Joshua trusted in the Lord with all his heart? He didn't lean on his own understanding in all his ways. He acknowledged him and God directed his path. And whoa, the walls of Jericho fell down, revealing our memory verse behind. Isn't this a fun craft? So for this, all you need is 2 pieces of A4 paper. And if you take your first one, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this piece of paper, we're going to make this section for the walls and this section for the handle. So take your ruler, just put it up against the long edge and draw along it. That's going to be for this piece. Then put your ruler across and just choose the height that you want for the walls of Jericho and draw across that. And then once again, put your ruler down and draw up it. And that's going to be the section for the handle. So 3 pieces, the little marching people, Jericho, and the handle. So you get those cut out. Here they are. The first thing we're going to make now is Jericho. So again, get your ruler and we're going to divide it into 4 towers. So just draw down your ruler 4 times. 1, in fact, there we go, 3, 4. So it's like this. And then we're going to make 2 of them slightly shorter. So we'll just again take our ruler and draw across the top of 2 of our towers like that. And we'll get this whole thing cut out. So we'll cut off this little extra edge. And then we'll cut out these towers. Now, I have to say, I didn't make this craft up. I really love it. I found it online that somebody else had done. I think it's a brilliant idea. So, now we've got our walls of Jericho. We'll just decorate them a little bit. So first of all, we'll put in some arrow slits at the top where the people of Jericho might hide and shout down to the Israelites as they march past. Do you remember that's what they did? So there we go, there are our arrow slits. And then on our 2 taller towers, we'll put in some windows where people could look out. There we go. And then finally, we're going to decorate it with some bricks. Now, bricks are really easy to draw. You just do a rectangle and then the next one you start halfway along the first one. You can also make them at the edge so that they're partly going behind that tower or they're going round it, but it's the same thing. So here we go. And sometimes what you might want to do is draw 2 together like that and then just 1 on top. So just make a good pattern of bricks all over, but you don't need to cover the whole thing. Just doing a few gives the impression that you need. Whoops, I've got that one a bit wrong, never mind. And I use this technique not just for drawing walls of Jericho, but I would use it if I was doing a castle or drawing a house. So there we go. Once you've got your bricks done, you're ready to colour it in. And what I've chosen to do is basically colour the whole thing in a pale colour, a pale brick or stony colour. I don't know what colour the stones are in that part of the world. I imagine they're kind of a sandy colour, so you might want to use a sandy sort of yellow, but I'm using a brown here, and get the whole lot coloured in, making sure you don't colour in the windows, and then just go over the bricks a bit darker. So there we go. Colour all your bricks in darker. I won't bother doing them all just for the sake of time, but there we go. So you can get the whole lot coloured in. Once you're happy with it, the next thing is to draw the little marching people. Now I'll show you how to draw one a bit bigger, and then you can draw them all in small. So I've chosen to do basically stick men. I like drawing stick men. I think they're full of character. But I don't actually just do a line for the body. I do it like a tummy, because that means you can make some of them tall and thin and some of them fat, and it's quite fun to have them all different. Now, when you're marching, your arms are sort of like that. So the back one comes down from the shoulder and then out, and the front one goes down to the elbow and then up. And then the legs, one leg on the ground, but the other leg coming up to the knee, and like that. So you can see they're all marching along in step. So draw just loads of them, one behind the other, and you can see my one at the front. There we are, that's the priest. He's playing the ram's horn. So you might want to draw that in. Now, once you've got Jericho and your people ready, take a second sheet of A4, and what we're going to do is we're going to write the memory verse onto it. But to start with, you want the memory verse to be hidden behind the walls of Jericho. So put your walls of Jericho on, just draw around them lightly in pencil to give you a box, and then write your memory verse inside the box. Once that's done, the next thing is we're going to make the slot that Jericho can come down through when it falls down. So just draw along the bottom to give you the right size, fold your paper carefully in half, and then we're going to cut along that line. Oops. And that way, we've managed to cut our slot in the middle of the paper. Let's just check that Jericho fits. Yes, it fits nicely. And now we need to put in the slots at either side so that the people will slot through. And these need to be this length. That's how high they need to be. And you want them just to come down either side of the slot that you made for Jericho. So there we go, we've drawn those lines in. Again, we'll fold our paper in half. This time we'll fold it that way along the slot, so we can just see half of these lines, and we'll cut those again. And as we cut along the half, the whole slot will be cut because we folded the paper in half. I hope that all makes sense. Good. So let's just test this. Oh, do you know what? I haven't cut that quite big enough. I need to cut it a little longer. There we go. There we go. If you end up cutting them too big, they'll kind of flop about. So it's better to make it a little bit too small and then make it bigger if you need to. Right. So we've got our people in. Now, to be able to pull Jericho up and down, do you remember we made a handle? Here it is. So we'll just put some paper glue onto the back of that and stick that on just in the middle. There we go. And we'll get that slotted in. Oops. And then we're just about finished. The only thing that we still need to do is you've got some blank spaces, so you could choose to write something. So I'm going to write Joshua trusted God. The first one I wrote trust in the Lord. So there's different things that you could say. But I'm going to write Joshua trusted God because that will remind us that Joshua trusted God, and then the amazing miracle happened of the walls of Jericho falling down. And hopefully that will remind us that when we trust God, amazing things will happen as well. So I hope you enjoy making this craft, and I hope you enjoy learning that memory verse, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6.
Let's do it again, but this time, see if you can follow us with actions.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path.
Proverbs 3, 5 and 6.
Joseph really trusted God in the Battle of Jericho. He didn't care if people laughed at him in the way he was going about the battle.
Yes, he must have really trusted Him. I think it's not easy to trust God in this way, but it's something that we can learn to do. Just like how we have to be taught to read. We learn how to read and it becomes natural to us. In the same way, we can learn to trust God with all our hearts and pray to Him about everything, and He will make everything turn out right. Let's do the verse one more time.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Proverbs 3:5-6.
That's it for this week.
Till next time, bye!